Hello, welcome to my session tonight. You are welcome to my session. It's going to be an interesting one. Today I'll be speaking about insurance. Insurance. I'll be speaking about insurance today, and it promises to be interesting. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Manuel. I see you. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. We're starting shortly. Thank you, YouTube and Instagram. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Just before we start, I'd like to use this opportunity to introduce myself. My name is R. Ephraim, and I'm an author of two books, Succeeding in Your Career and Let's Talk About Money. These two books are aimed at new or fresh graduates, or recent graduates, and young professionals. However, people that are changing jobs could find it useful. People that want to take um, control of their finances could also find it useful, even if they have been in employment for long. So, I'm going to be sharing a couple of things today, and I sincerely hope that you find it useful. Um, Before I go dive in, I just want to introduce what I'm speaking about. I'm talking about insurance and the benefit and what um, type of insurance you can take out as an employee or salary earner. The focus is to ensure that you are well protected while you're trying to save or make money or invest and all of that. It's important that you have the right strategy and information to make that right decision. So, first of all, what is insurance and what are the type of insurance that you can benefit from? Um, I'd like to give a dictionary definition of what insurance is. A lot of people have different misconception about insurance and what it is not or what it is, but I'll just give a dictionary definition of what insurance is. Insurance is a means of protection from financial loss. It is a form of risk management primarily used to hedge against the risk of a contingent or uncertain loss. An entity which provides insurance is known as insurer, and an insurance company, an insurance carrier, or an underwriter. What does insurance cover? It promises that if something catastrophic happens to your business or to yourself or to the things that you are covering against, your carrier or your insurance company would assist you to make your business whole again. Sometimes, though, it is tempting to question the value of insurance because is an intangible product. Now, I just read that so that you understand the background of what we're looking at today. So, insurance promises to bring you back to the state that you were in before that catastrophe happened. So, You are protecting yourself against future occurrence. If I could ask you, do you know exactly, are you sure for certain what will happen tomorrow? The answer to that is no. We just know the date and plans and things that we need to do. Maybe you need to do some things in the office or things you need to do at home, things like that. But we don't know for sure exactly what will happen with the plan that we are making and all the things that we are doing. So that's why it's important. The only thing that can guarantee that your plan would come to fruition is if you have some level of backup to, if you like, contingencies. So if something bad happens, what do I do? So you're making contingent plan to your ultimate plan. And this is particularly interesting or important for those in employment, because if you are a 9 to 5 person, you have a fixed salary. You probably have, this is how much I want to spend for savings, this is how much I want to spend for investing, this is how much I want to spend for my bills and all of that. Then you probably have some amount you want to spend for emergency. So emergency um, budget or plan is something that you put aside just in case something happens. But that's not enough, because depending on the path of the world that you're in, there are some emergencies that can happen that will wipe out your total savings for a whole year. So, or even more. So that's why it's really important that you have an insurance that can keep your mind at rest. I'll go over the benefit later, but that's one of the benefits. Something that keep your mind at rest, that the plans that you're making would be true and that you are covered in some way. Yeah, we know that ultimate is God that guarantees safety or making your plans to come to pass, but it's important that you also make your plans while you are banking on the ultimate plan, which is God. Okay, so I'm just going to enumerate some of the benefits of insurance, and then we'll go to the type of insurance that you can take up. Like I mentioned before, one of the reasons why you need to take up an insurance is because you don't know what will happen tomorrow. You have made your plan for the year, you have budgeted, you have done all of that, but you don't know for sure that those plans will come true. You don't know what will happen to you. Someone said most people don't think about bad thing happens happening to them. They think about other people, bad things happening to other people, but not them. But because we don't have control over nature and the things that go about around us, it's important to have some level of control by transferring that risk to a third party and have some rest or peace of mind. So yeah, I'll go over some of the benefits. Then I would go over some insurance plan that you can take up as an employee. Um, One of the benefits is that it covers you against uncertainties. Just like I said before, you don't know for sure what would happen tomorrow. And cover against uncertainty is one of the prominent and crucial benefits of insurance. Insurance is an important risk mitigation device. It protects your income from unexpected expenses. So you have, let's say you make $500 in a month, and from all of that, you save 10% as emergency fund, let's say $50. So if an emergency actually happens in that month that is worth $200, what do you do? It means your $50 in that month will not cover that risk. So it means you'll probably dip your hand into what you have in savings or probably liquidate an investment to offset that emergency. So because you don't want to do that, you have to hedge those emergency or risk. And there are different risks that you need to cover. And I'll talk about the different types of insurance and why one of those would, or those that would be important to you as a worker. So that's number one. It protects you against unforeseen, unexpected expenses. It protects the money you're saving for future plans. So instead of you dipping your hand into savings because you have an emergency of 200 and you have only a budget for 50, you you have to go and take from your savings that you're planning for a future event. So that disrupts your savings plan. If you have to do that again and again, you probably won't have savings at the end of the day and you'll be left stranded. So it's important that you have an insurance to mitigate against this sort of uncertainties. And uncertainties can be anything that you can think of. It could be to health reasons, it could be to loss of employment or income, it could be to temporary um, loss of income. It could be a permanent loss of income. It could be a permanent disability. It could be a long term sickness. So, all of these are insurable. Another important reason why you need an insurance, or one of the benefits, is cash flow management. The uncertainty in paying for the losses incurred out of pocket has a significant impact on cash flow management. We have discussed about budgeting in the past, and we talked about the different areas you're budgeting for, including emergency fund. So, in a whole year, you already know what you're supposed to be setting aside for different things, including emergencies. So, if what you're putting aside for emergency is not enough, and you have to dip your hand into savings, it means that you have disrupted that plan. So your cash flow management is disrupted because there is something that you didn't think about. There are a lot of things that you wouldn't think about that can happen. And that's why it is important that you put this thing aside and ensure that they are covered from time to time. Another advantage for taking up an insurance is investment opportunity. There are different types of insurance, and some pertaining to life that covers the whole life are a form of investment. Now, there are, because of depending on the where you are in the world, if you take up some variant of life insurance, you can cash out eventually if what you are insuring against doesn't happen. This form of insurance are usually pertaining to life. So if the person decides to die eventually, the proceeds of that insurance will be paid to the dependents. But if they don't die at the end of the tenure of that insurance, then they can take up that money back and use it for whatever they want to use it for. And usually those monies that you're putting aside every month, they're invested in different securities and they're paid back at the end of the period. So it's a form of investment, even though directly you're not looking at it as an investment. It's just a cover to give you peace of mind. But because of the way they are, you can cash on them eventually, and that could form some type of earning for you in the future. Another benefit is tax savings. I can't mention this enough. There are different types of insurance that you can pick up again, like I said, and most tax savings insurance are also related to life. So if you cover um, yourself or your spouse, you get some tax relief depending on the country, again, depending on the country that you're in. So you get that benefit. Um, if you look at the larger scale, it's not just about you. Remember that you live in a community, in a society where you are supposed to give back to. If your society has given anything to you, you should start thinking about how can you affect the environment, society positively, and that's one of the advantage. Insurance company provide the required funds for infrastructure development. So there are huge costs involved in development, and insurance companies are usually the sector that government go to for to borrow money. So because you're paying a premium, and the risk that you are paying premium for is not expected to happen at the same time with everyone that is paying that premium. So there is some level of funding that the insurance companies have at their disposal that people haven't come to claim. So everybody's pulling their funds together so that, let me give a typical example for an insurance against a motor vehicle. Let's say 10 people take up that insurance policy and they make premium contribution every month. We don't expect the 10 people that take up the insurance to have the same risk of vehicle loss or whatever they insured against every month. So insurance company will have that premium of let's say $100 per month from 10 people. That's $1,000. So if insurance has $1,000 at the end of the month, and out of the 10, maybe one person actually suffers a risk, and the value of the risk is like maybe $200. The insurance company pays that $200 and have $800 at their disposal that they're probably not using. Maybe they cover overhead for another 20%. So they have like $600 that is staying idle that they're not going to use. Um, so there are different government regulations that cover insurance and how those monies are shared. So don't feel like the whole 60% insurance is just going to recognize all of that as profit or income. No, they they have to hold those monies for a number of years before they can um, y- convert them to profit. So in the meantime, the government can reach out to the insurance company to say, "Oh, give us some of those monies to build infrastructures," because remember, premiums are paid every month, and loss claim don't happen every month. So there'll always be a buffer for the insurance company to play around with, and government come to them to get those monies for infrastructure and pay back over time. So that's the benefit, because a pool of money is now available for government to spend from to provide infrastructure, to build roads, to build, provide housing, things like that, that could benefit the whole environment and society. So that's one of the advantages. Like I mentioned before, it's something that you should be happy that your money is going into something that is productive for the society. Another benefit is the fact that it provides a sense of security. Insurance provides security to the insured during his life and to his dependent, gives you the power to protect your family even when you are not around anymore. It protects your emotional health by giving you peace of mind. This is totally important. If you have a family, you're married with children, one way of ensuring that they are totally safe and secured is taking up an insurance that could benefit them in case they are not there anymore, or you have loss of income, or just something that has happened. It gives you that peace of mind that they are covered. So you feel like if you're not there anymore, they won't go to be under the bridge or suffer some kind of backwardness, because you have maintained a level of financial stability for them. So you want them to be at that level where they are comfortable, whether you are there or not. So that sense of responsibility gives you that peace of mind, gives you the assurance that things are going to go well with or without you because you have made provision. So this is also a very good point that you should know. The last on my list as one of the benefits of insurance is that it provides employment opportunities. Insurance provide employment opportunities for, first of all, for direct employment opportunities for people that work in insurance company, indirect opportunities for people that the funds in insurance companies are used for. Like I mentioned earlier, where I said the insurance money is used for infrastructure development. So once the monies are taken for infrastructure, say construction of road, for example, people are employed to do those jobs. So indirectly, your insurance premium is providing employment opportunities. And that's a good feeling that you're creating jobs from your little contribution. Even though you're getting peace of mind, you're getting all that benefit. God forbid you have a loss of what you actually insured against, you get that money back. So I've explained what insurance is and some of its benefits. And I think that they are very important benefit that a salary earner should explore. So what type of, the last bit of this conversation is what type of insurance should you take up as a salary earner? Before I go into that, I just want to introduce my two books. I mentioned it before at the beginning. I have written two books. The first one is Succeeding in Your Career for young graduates and professionals that are just starting out their careers. So it'd be good to get that book. It's available on Amazon, also on my website. If you follow my YouTube channel, you would see a link to the website, an Amazon link. You can click on them and get a copy. The second book is Let's Talk About Money. Yeah, I talked about insurance a bit, but there are other things that you find in that book, like savings, investment, retirement, tax planning, and the things you just need to know about money to be to have total control about your finances. All right. Taking up the last bit of my presentation tonight, which is insurance to take up as a salary earner. There are some insurance that are compulsory and some that are optional because it covers other people. Government make those insurance compulsory. One of them is motor vehicle insurance. So if you have a car, it would be good to have an insurance policy on that car. In some countries, government make only third party compulsory. In some other country, you have to take a comprehensive to cover yourself on third party. So whichever it is, I would prefer or I would recommend that you take up a comprehensive one. The third party covers only the other person if a risk occur. So you that means you will not be covered yourself. I don't know if that's a wise decision to make if you don't want to cover yourself if there is a problem. Remember, the value, the risk you're covering against is not just the damage to the car; it's also everything inside the car, including passengers or the person driving the car. So, comprehensive insurance is recommended for a salary earner for car if you have one. That is very important. The second insurance that I would recommend is health insurance. Um, if you work in a very good organization, this is probably covered. It might be the general one, and there are some that are specific. In some countries, health insurance is free, like in the UK. Everybody can access the health system. Even in the UK, that you have public health, some people to take out private medical insurance for specific reason or for specialized attention because they don't want to go through the public system. They want to take up the private one that is recommended. But if you live in a separate country. For example, if you stay in Nigeria, there are insurance um, policies for health that you can pick up. I think the lowest is like 20 or 30,000 per annum. You can take that up. What that would cover would be your basic primary care. If you have any emergency, it will cover it and things like that. So look, check out that one. It's very important that you take up a health insurance if your organization is not taking that up for you, because sickness is not something that anyone can predict. Even if you do exercises, you go to the gym, you take the fruits, do all the things, you can still get sick. And remember what I said before, that sometimes your emergency fund is not enough to cover your emergency. But if you take some of those risks and you outsource it, like what you do to insurance, then you can cover those things. So it's possible that when the person gets sick, the money that they had budgeted for emergency is not able to cover the sickness. And because you don't know the type of sickness that would come, and you can't predict how long, that money might not be enough. So once you have that insurance, it will cover you for at least a whole year, then you can renew it the next year. Remember, you are still a salary earner, or you are still in your active years, and it's important that you feel good so that you can be more productive. So that's the one I would recommend. I've talked about car insurance, then I've talked about health insurance, which is very important. It's not so expensive, so you can afford it, and I would strongly recommend those two. Another one that I would recommend is income protection. This could be for loss of job or temporary unemployment if you're in between jobs. I've talked about sickness or disability. So it's possible that you have an extended sickness, and for most extended sickness, I doubt any company would want to cover you for too long a time. More than 1 year. Usually, it's usually less than 1 year if the person is sick extensively. So, taking up an income protection insurance would help cover, like you're still living your normal life, like you're earning your normal salary. But the good thing is this: you can determine how much income you want to insure yourself up to. So, if you earn, say, $3,000 in a month, for example, you can take up income protection insurance to cover up to 3,000. So if anything happens to you and you're not able to work, the insurance company will continue to pay you $3,000 every month for the period that you're covered. Sometimes they can cover you up to $500,000. But of course, the more cover you get, the more premium you pay every month. So if something that happened, they pay that 3,000 every month until it gets to 500,000. So it's very important that you think about this one. It's also recommended because we don't know how long you'll be out of job for. You don't know um, what kind of sickness you could get into. You don't know if the person is going to be disabled or something like that. Like I said, we don't think this thing will happen to us until it happens. We think, oh, maybe it will happen to the next person. So it's very important that you take up one of these insurance to be safe. You need your active years to be active. And when you are not able to be active, then you should take up that risk so that just in case you're still covered. That's income protection. So check with your insurance companies. There are a lot of them that you would have in the country that you're in. So check with them and check what they are offering. You'll be surprised that there are even better deals that what I'm mentioning now. Another one that I would recommend, if you have a home, or maybe you have a mortgage, or you have a house that you're in, or even if you are renting, it's still recommended that you take up at least the content insurance. If you're renting, it's just content you should bother about because you're not the owner of the house. If anything happens, maybe like fire, For example, the things inside the house will be covered, so you don't need to spend from your emergency fund to start buying maybe mattresses or TV or electronics that you have in your house, or maybe a laptop. All those will be covered by the insurance. But if you have a house, it's totally recommended that you get that building covered by an insurance company. That'll cover for cost of if it's a fire, for example, and a portion of the house is burnt, it can be replaced by insurance company. If it's a total loss where the whole building comes down, then the insurance company will also build that building up. But if you don't have, just imagine you bought a house for, again, let's say $200,000, and the building, you have a total loss on that building. How would you cope? So these are questions that you don't want to know the answer to. So you're better off outsourcing the risks to someone else. The last one on my list, there are just five good example, is the life insurance. I have mentioned a bit about life insurance and how it can also be an investment opportunity. There are variants of life insurance out there. It would be better to speak to an insurance company agent to know what they have, and some of this insurance can also serve as tax relief. So remember that life insurance is very important. It covers you as long as you continue to be productive and alive. Um, but if something happens to the person and maybe they lose their life, that amount can be paid to their dependents and ensuring that they are still well taken care of when that person is no more. So these are the things I had in mind to discuss with you. Um, in this session, I have defined what an insurance is, and I've given numerous examples of the benefits, the things that you stand to benefit when you take up one, not just yourself, but also to the society at large. Then I have also explained the type of insurance that you can get as a salary earner that I would strongly recommend. I'm going to stop here today. If you have any question, please do put it on the comment section. If you're on YouTube, you can do that. If you're on Instagram, please just drop a comment if you have any question. Otherwise, I want to thank you for joining, and I'll see you next week. Thank you. Yeah, but if you have any question, please feel free to put in a comment, or you can send a DM and I'll respond. Thank you so much. I still have like 2 minutes to take questions. 2 minutes to take questions. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for joining. I really appreciate your timing. Of course, if you're just joining, you can always go back to um, the video. I'm going to post it after the session so you can have a look later, either on YouTube or on Instagram. Someone is asking, is there a particular insurance company in Nigeria you would recommend? Uh, I wouldn't want to endorse anyone. I wouldn't want to. I'm sure you find, I would prefer that you set yourself. Set yourself. You can set like up to, you can get reviews from Google to see how they are doing. You can search for maybe top three or top five insurance companies in Nigeria and check how they're doing. You get reviews of people that have used them, then you can approach them. You can even get quotes from them to know, you can to compare the prices. So that's something that you can do. I wouldn't want to endorse anyone, as I don't use anyone right now in Nigeria. So Any other question? If there are no other questions, I want to thank you once again for your attention and your participation tonight. Thank you so much. I'll see you next week when I'll be discussing an even more interesting topic. Bye for now.